Hello there and welcome to this digital photo video tutorial. I'm Phil Hall and I'm going to show you how to convert your images to mono using the flexibility of RAW in CS and CS2's RAW converter. On top of the basic adjust tab that is offered in Elements, CS and CS2's RAW converter has the extra tab called Calibrate, which offers even finer control that allows you to achieve some great results. So, open up your start image and we can begin. So, once you've opened up your RAW file, we're greeted by CS2's RAW interface. So we've got a start image here, this is the one we want to convert to mono, and we've got a range of sliders here on our right at our disposal to get the best mono shot we possibly can. So most of our work is going to be concentrated in the Adjust tab, but we've also got the Calibrate tab off to the right there, and I'll show you a bit more about that in a moment. But I'm going to first take out the colour. So as I did with the Element 6 file, I'm just going to take out the saturation completely down to -100. So there we go, we've got the start of our mono shot, but there's still quite a bit of work to be done because it's looking pretty flat and pretty muddy, and I wouldn't be happy with that if I printed that out. So I'm going to move on up to the temperature slider. Now, as I said before in the Element 6 video, we're not concerned about the white balance of the shot, but we can still use the temperature slider to have some impact on the tonality of our RAW file. So if I drag it through there, you can see the global effect it has on our shot. So in this instance, I'm going to drag it all the way down to around about 4,400 and leave it there. I'm going to move on to the tint slider now. And as with the temperature slider, it's predominantly focused on white balance, but it's still got a place when we're converting to mono. And if I show you there, you can see the effect it has on our shot. So we can fine tune that, and I'm going to go for around about 86. There we go, plus 86 there. So it's starting to come on, but we've still got quite a bit of work to do. I'm going to go down to the exposure slider now, and I'm going to knock that up to around about plus 0.5. There we go. If you've watched my Element 6 video, you'll notice I only had it on 0.25, so I've lightened it a little bit more. That's because I haven't got a film light slider here, so I can't control any detail that's been lost to the shadows. If I hit U on my keyboard, that will display the shadow clipping warning, and that's represented by these blue splotches there. So we've tried to control that by just increasing the exposure slightly. I'm going to leave shadows alone because if I crank them up, the image just gets too dark and we lose detail in our shadows. So I'm going to leave that untouched and move down to brightness. As with the Element 6 conversion, I'm going to increase it to just around about plus 63. And contrast is going to go all the way up to plus 80. As you can see, those three changes we've made have made quite a difference, but we've still got quite a bit of work to do until I'm really happy with it. This time there's no clarity slider, so we haven't got any control over contrast in the midtones. And we're going to have to rely on the Calibrate tab to do that. But I'm just going to knock up the saturation just to show you what it was like, and it's looking pretty horrible there. But we don't need to worry what it looks like in colour. All we're concerned about is how it looks like in mono. Okay, so I think we're ready to have a play around with the Calibrate tab. Now, it sounds a lot more daunting than it actually is. And we've got a range of sliders here. I'm just going to run through them and how they can affect your image. If you've ever used the channel mixture in Photoshop, you'll understand that the red, green and blue sliders have a massive impact on the tonality of our shot. And we can do this to quite a bit more advanced state in Camera Raw. We can use these 7 sliders here to really get the best out of our shot. And I'm going to work backwards. I'm going to go down to the blue saturation slider. I'm just going to show you how that affects our shot. So if I decrease that, you can see the sky bleaches out. If I increase it, almost goes jet black. So I want quite a nice dark sky for this image, so I'm just going to drag it down to around about plus 57. So that's darkened down that sky really nicely. If I just click off preview, you can see the changes that's already made. That's already made the image look really good. I'm really liking the way that's working. Okay, so I'm going to move on to blue hue now, and if I toggle through that slider range, you can see again that has an effect on the sort of tonality and contrast of our shot. I'm going to drag it right until it reads about +10. There we go. So just a subtle change. Okay, I'm going to move up to green saturation. Now for this particular shot, when I run through the green saturation slider, there's not really any change in our shot. Now that's going to vary from shot to shot depending how much green you've actually got in the image, but for this one it's not having much of an impact. So I'm going to leave it on about 0. I'm going to move up to green hue now, and that does have a difference. If I run through that, you can see darkens down the sky there and lightens it as well. So I'm going to go for something round about -19 or thereabouts. Okay, we're working up the calibrate tab, so we're now getting to red saturation. Again, if I run through that, see what kind of changes that makes, and that's going too dark there. Just want to lighten it a little bit, round about there. So I've lightened the shot, but still kept that nice dark sky, but I've just lightened sort of the clouds, otherwise there's a risk of sort of disappearing into the blacks. Red hue, I'm going to have a play around with this, see what that does. It's just boosting the contrast there. I'm going to go for +25 there, just to boost the contrast a tad. And finally we're at shadow tint. Let's have a look at how that affects our shot. So run through the slider. Well, it goes quite horrible there, so we want to keep away from that side of things. And I'm going to go for around about -25. That's just given us a little bit more details and lightened up the shadow areas. And there we go, a great mono image with bags of impact, and we haven't even had to dive into Photoshop yet. This is a great way to convert your raw files to mono, and offers bags more control than the channel mixer once you're in Photoshop. If you've got CS3 however, take a look at my next video, also on the CD, where I show you the delights of the HSL Grayscale tab in CS3's RAW converter. I hope this video has inspired you to give it a shot with your own images. Anyway, I'll see you again soon. Cheers!